The integrity of prosecutors' investigation and credibility of the victim's parents were a major focus of the hearing. Timothy Busfield can be released from jail while he awaits trial on child sexual abuse charges, a court has ruled. Bernalillo County District Court Judge David A. Murphy on Tuesday rejected New Mexico prosecutors' bid to keep Busfield detained, finding that the actor doesn't pose an ongoing danger to the community. Given the lack of a pattern involving children in this case, the judge said that the risk of Busfield committing more crimes can be remedied through different conditions of release. Under the order, Busfield may not contact the alleged victims or their families, discuss the case with witnesses, or have any unsupervised contact with minors. The ruling came after Busfield last week turned himself in to authorities to face 2 counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor and 1 count of child abuse. He appeared at the hearing in shackles and wearing an orange jumpsuit. Bernalillo County Deputy District Savannah Brandenburg Koch argued that Busfield may continue abusing children if he's released. She recounted Busfield's pattern of related misconduct. In one alleged incident in 1994, a 17-year-old extra on Little Big League, which he directed, accused him of assault, alleging he served her alcohol, groped her, and attempted to initiate sex in his trailer, according to prosecutors. In another 2012 incident, an adult woman alleged he assaulted her in a Los Angeles movie theater. Busfield allegedly slipped his hands under her clothes and touched her genitals, per court documents. Law enforcement ultimately didn't pursue a criminal case due to slim evidence. Busfield has denied allegations that he abused the children, who were allegedly touched on multiple occasions on the set of The Cleaning Lady in Albuquerque. Brandenburg Koch stressed that the victim's therapist and doctor both independently reported the alleged abuse. It was during therapy, not the parents, that SL described sexual abuse by the defendant, and VL disclosed inappropriate touching, she said, referring to the alleged victims by their initials. SL even disclosed in therapy that he was mad at his dad because he thought he knew it was going on since he had the iPad to watch his children. The victim's father, Ronald Rodas, was a major subject of the hearing. Amber Fairberg, a lawyer for Busfield, called him a con artist looking for a payout, pointing to a 2017 prison sentence in connection to a mortgage fraud scheme. She also cited Warner Bros.' internal investigation, which cited evidence indicating that the parents wanted revenge against Busfield for recasting them in the 4th season of the Fox series after they aged out of their roles. This entire criminal complaint is making good on that promise, Fairberg said. They got a civil attorney first in California, who then interacted with WB. They didn't contact the police until WB said there's nothing behind these allegations. Translation, we're not giving you any money. Then they went to the police. Across the hearing, lawyers for Busfield looked to undermine the integrity of prosecutors' allegations. Alan Caudillo, the cleaning lady's director of photography, testified that he never saw Busfield tickle the children or talk to them without supervision, adding that he found Rodas creepy and very aggressive. The victims and their parents were paid roughly $1.5 million, or roughly $60,000 per episode, for appearing on the show, Caudillo estimated. There's not a universe where they can prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt, Fairberg said. In a statement, Larry Stein, a lawyer for Busfield, said, "We are delighted that the judge thoroughly reviewed the evidence and reached a just decision." In a ruling that has ignited a fierce debate over celebrity justice, prosecutorial overreach, and the sanctity of child abuse investigations, a New Mexico judge has ordered the release of acclaimed actor and director Timothy Busfield as he awaits trial on charges of sexually abusing minors on a television set. The decision, handed down Tuesday after a contentious day-long detention hearing, pivoted not on a simple determination of flight risk, but on a judicial gutting of the prosecution's narrative, casting profound doubt on the credibility of the accuser's parents and the integrity of the investigation itself. Bernalillo County District Court Judge David A. Murphy, in a meticulously reasoned order, rejected the state's urgent bid to keep Busfield, 66, detained without bond. The judge found the prosecution failed to demonstrate the 30-something and Field of Dreams star poses a clear ongoing danger to the community, a required legal threshold for pre-trial detention in such cases. Given the lack of a pattern involving children in this case, Judge Murphy wrote, the risk of Busfield committing new crimes can be remedied through different conditions of release. Those conditions are stringent. Busfield is prohibited from contacting the alleged victims or their families, discussing the case with witnesses, or having any unsupervised contact with minors. The ruling came after Busfield last week turned himself in to authorities to face 2 counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor and 1 count of child abuse. He appeared at the hearing in shackles and wearing an orange jumpsuit. The ruling followed Busfield's surrender last week to face 2 counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor and 1 count of child abuse. The charges stem from his time as an executive producer and occasional director on the Fox drama The Cleaning Lady, which filmed its 3rd season in Albuquerque in 2022. The alleged victims, 2 young siblings who had recurring roles on the series, are identified in court documents only by their initials, SL and VL. A hearing of 2 compelling, irreconcilable realities. The hearing transformed from a procedural event into a stark courtroom drama, presenting 2 diametrically opposed realities. In one, painted by Deputy District Attorney Savannah Brandenburg-Koch, Busfield is a predatory figure with a decades-long pattern of exploiting his position to assault women and girls, now accused of grooming and touching young children entrusted to his care on a closed set. In the other, articulated by Busfield's defense attorney, Amber Feyerberg, the actor is the target of a calculated shakedown by a family of opportunistic grifters led by a convicted felon father who weaponized the justice system after a major Hollywood studio refused to pay them off following a contract dispute. The prosecution's case: a pattern and parental integrity. Brandenburg-Koch argued fervently for detention, contending Busfield's alleged behavior was part of a persistent modus operandi. She reached back nearly 3 decades to an alleged 1994 incident when Busfield was directing the film Little Big League. A 17-year-old extra accused him of serving her alcohol, groping her, and attempting to initiate sex in his trailer. No charges were filed. She then cited a 2012 allegation from an adult woman in Los Angeles who claimed Busfield assaulted her in a movie theater, allegedly placing his hands under her clothes and touching her genitals. Law enforcement at the time declined to pursue a criminal case due to what prosecutors now acknowledge was slim evidence. This is a pattern of the defendant using his power, his position, to assault women and girls, Brandenburg-Koch asserted. She then turned to the current, far more serious allegations involving children. The core of the state's case rests on disclosures made by the children during therapy sessions in 2023. It was during therapy, not the parents, that SL described sexual abuse by the defendant and VL disclosed inappropriate touching, Brandenburg-Koch stressed, emphasizing the independence of the reports. A therapist and a doctor both filed mandatory reports with authorities, triggering the criminal investigation. Brandenburg-Pock revealed a poignant and damning detail from SL's therapy sessions. The child expressed anger at his own father, Ronald Rodas, because he thought he knew it was going on, since he had the iPad to watch his children, a reference to the on-set video feed used to monitor child actors. The prosecution portrayed the parents, Ronald and Savannah Rodas, as cooperative, concerned, and credible. They had brought their children to therapy for unrelated issues, she noted, and the abuse revelations emerged organically, not from parental prompting. The defense's counterattack: con artists and a revenge plot. Busfield's defense team did not merely dispute the facts, they launched a full-scale assault on the genesis of the entire case, aiming its fire directly at the victim's father, Ronald Rodas. Amber Feyerberg brandished Rodas's criminal past, revealing he served a federal prison sentence in 2017 for his role in a multi-million-dollar mortgage fraud scheme. "This is a con artist," Feyerberg declared, framing him as a man skilled in manipulation and deceit. She then presented what she argued was the true motive: financial revenge. According to evidence from an internal Warner Brothers Discovery investigation conducted by the studio's legal team before the police were involved, the Rodas parents were enraged after their children were recast in the show's 4th season. It is common practice in Hollywood to recast young actors as they age out of specific roles. The defense cited internal communications suggesting the parents believed Busfield was behind this decision and sought revenge. "This entire criminal complaint is making good on that promise," Feyerberg argued. She laid out a timeline. After the recasting, the family retained a California civil attorney who contacted Warner Bros. They didn't contact the police until Waybe said, "There's nothing behind these allegations," Feyerberg said. Translation: "We're not giving you any money." Then they went to the police. The defense suggested the children's therapy disclosures were the product of coaching or indirect influence from parents seeking leverage in a financial dispute. Feyerberg estimated the family had been paid roughly $1.5 million for their work on the show, or about $60,000 per episode per child. "There's not a universe where they can prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt," she concluded. To bolster the picture of a hostile, money-driven family, the defense called Alan Cadillo, the director of photography on The Cleaning Lady. Cadillo testified he never witnessed Busfield act inappropriately, never saw him tickle the children or speak to them without an approved guardian present. He then offered a subjective but impactful opinion of Ronald Rodas, describing him as creepy and very aggressive on set, implying an intimidating presence that could coerce a narrative. The judge's calculus: doubt, conditions, and release. Judge Murphy's ruling made clear which narrative he found more compelling, at least for the narrow purpose of pretrial detention. While not dismissing the charges, his order highlighted the weaknesses the defense exposed. His finding of no pattern involving children was a direct rebuke to the prosecution's attempt to use the 1994 and 2012 allegations, both involving adults or near adults and neither resulting in charges, to establish Busfield as a present danger to minors. The judge essentially compartmentalized the current allegations, judging them on their own amidst a cloud of questionable motives from the accuser's family. By opting for a stringent set of release conditions, Judge Murphy signaled he believed the state's interests could be protected without incarceration. The conditions are designed to surgically address the specific allegations. No contact with the victims or their families halts any potential intimidation. No unsupervised contact with minors protects the broader community, and GPS monitoring ensures authorities can track his movements. Broader implications and fallout. The ruling sends shockwaves beyond the Albuquerque courthouse, touching on several raw nerves in the public consciousness. Celebrity justice? Critics will inevitably question whether Busfield's fame and resources won him a freedom a lesser-known defendant might not have enjoyed. His high-powered legal team's ability to fund a private investigative counter-narrative, digging into the father's past, and securing Warner Bros. Internal documents was instrumental. This highlights the vast disparity in defensive resources between the average accused person and a well-connected celebrity. The sanctity of child abuse allegations. Victim advocacy groups are likely to express profound concern. The defense's successful strategy of attacking the accuser's parents, shifting the focus from the children's statements to the father's character, could have a chilling effect, discouraging families from coming forward for fear of having their own lives dissected and vilified. The judicial system often treats child testimony as inherently fragile. Seeing it potentially undermined by parental misconduct is a troubling dynamic. The role of studios. Warner Bros. Discovery's internal investigation and its conclusion that the allegations were financially motivated became a cornerstone of the defense. This places the studio in an uncomfortable position, conducting its own probe for liability purposes, only to have its findings used to potentially discredit genuine victims. It raises questions about the ethics and consequences of corporate investigations intersecting with criminal matters. A case yet to be tried. It is crucial to remember that Tuesday's hearing was not a trial. No evidence was conclusively proved. The judge's ruling only states that the prosecution did not meet the high bar to jail someone presumed innocent before trial. The actual trial, likely months away, will involve a jury weighing the same evidence under the beyond a reasonable doubt standard, a much higher hurdle. In a statement following the release order, Busfield's lead attorney, Larry Stein, said, "We are delighted that the judge thoroughly reviewed the evidence and reached a just decision. Timothy Busfield has steadfastly maintained his innocence from the moment these salacious allegations, engineered by a convicted felon seeking a payday, were made. He looks forward to his eventual and complete vindication in court." The Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office issued a terse response. "We respect the court's decision, but stand firmly with the victims in this case, and will continue to prepare for trial. Our primary concern remains the safety and well-being of the children involved." Timothy Busfield was released from the Metropolitan Detention Center late Tuesday evening, exiting into a media frenzy and a future still shrouded in legal peril. His case is no longer just about the allegations in a New Mexico studio, but about the volatile intersection of fame, fortune, familial credibility, and the painful, complex pursuit of justice for the most vulnerable. The court of public opinion remains fiercely divided, and the final chapter of this harrowing story is yet to be written in a courtroom.